A large black object appeared in the sky one morning. It was not a cloud, not a plane, not anything people had ever seen. It just floated above the earth. Silent. Still. Watching. People in every country looked up and saw it. Phones started ringing. News channels showed it live. The world held its breath. Governments sent jets to fly near it. Nothing happened. The jets flew around it and came back. The object didn't move, it didn't respond. No message, no light. Just silence. People began to panic. Was it a weapon? Was it going to attack? Some said it was just a satellite. Others said it was the end of the world. But days passed, then a week, and still the object did nothing. It was shaped like a perfect circle, dark gray, smooth, with no windows or signs of life. Scientists pointed telescopes at it. They sent radio signals to talk to it. But the object didn't answer. People started calling it the Eye, because it looked like it was staring at Earth. Life slowly returned to normal, but people were scared. They looked up more than they used to. Children asked questions no one could answer. In schools, teachers said not to worry. In homes, parents told stories to keep their kids calm. But at night, no one really slept well, because no one knew why it had come or what it wanted. In a small town far from the big cities, there was a man named Rayan. He worked at an old repair shop. He fixed radios, clocks, and broken TVs. He didn't have many friends. People thought he was strange. He liked to be alone. He didn't care much about the news, but even he couldn't ignore the giant object in the sky. One evening, while working late in his shop, something strange happened. His old radio, one he never used, turned on by itself. A soft hum filled the room, then a clicking sound, not music, not words, just a slow, repeating pattern. Click, 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 click. Rayan froze. He listened. The sound was not from Earth. He could feel it in his bones. It wasn't just noise. It felt like it was talking to him. He turned the dials slowly. The sound got louder. Then suddenly a voice came through. It didn't speak any human language, but somehow Rayan understood it. "You hear us." Rayan's hands shook. He didn't know why, but he felt like he had been waiting his whole life to hear those words. The voice was calm, cold, not human, but clear in his mind. "We see you. Do not tell. Do not run. You know us." He stepped back from the radio. His heart was pounding. He looked outside. The Eye was still in the sky, still silent, still watching. He tried to record the sound, but his devices failed. Nothing worked. Only his ears could hear it now. The voice spoke again. "Come alone. Find the signal. We left it for you." Then silence. Rayan didn't sleep that night. He sat in his shop staring at the radio. What signal? Why him? He wasn't special. He wasn't a scientist or a soldier. He was just a repairman. But deep inside, something was waking up. A memory, maybe, or a feeling. Something old. The next day he followed the strange sound. It wasn't coming from the sky. It was coming from the ground. The signal pulled him through the forest, down broken roads, to a place he hadn't visited in years. An abandoned building stood at the edge of town, burned, broken, forgotten. But the signal was strongest here. His radio buzzed as he stepped. Inside, dust filled the air. The walls were cracked, but in the center of the room was a box, a small black box, glowing faintly. Rayan reached out and touched it. The moment he did, the room changed. Lights flickered, the walls disappeared. He saw stars, planets, a different Earth, and then a war. A terrible, massive war. Creatures that were not human. Ships that tore the sky. And in the middle of it all, the same object that now floated above Earth. Rayan fell to the ground. He gasped for air. It was too much, too fast. But one thing was clear. This wasn't the first time the aliens had come to Earth, and this time they weren't here to attack. But they weren't here out of mercy either. They were watching and waiting for something or someone. Rayan looked at the black box again. A final message appeared on it, glowing red. "You are not ready, but you are chosen." Then it turned off. Outside, the sky was dark. The eye still hung above Earth, silent and cold. But now Rayan knew something no one else did. The aliens didn't kill humans, but not because they were kind. Rayan stayed awake all night after the black box shut down. His hands still felt cold, his heart beat fast. He didn't understand everything he saw, but he knew it was real. The war, the other Earth, the creatures, and that voice. You are chosen. What did it mean? The next morning, he returned to his repair shop. The world outside was still talking about the alien object. News reporters stood under the sky, pointing up at the eye. Scientists on TV gave long speeches, but they didn't know anything. Rayan knew that now. The truth wasn't in the sky. It was in the ground, hidden, old. The radio that first gave him the signal was quiet now, just static. But Rayan couldn't stop thinking about the voice. Find the signal. We left it for you. Had he found it already? Or was there more? He opened the black box again, but it didn't light up. It was dead. No power, no glow, no sound. Just a piece of cold metal. He took it apart carefully. Inside, there were no wires, no batteries, nothing. It was not made by humans. He could feel it. Rayan placed it beside his old tools. Then he noticed something. The radio was picking up something again. Not the same sound, but something softer, weaker. A kind of music, faint and distant. Came in short bursts like a whisper from far away. He listened closely. The melody repeated like a code. He wrote it down. It wasn't just music. It was numbers, coordinates, a location. He checked the map. The spot was in the middle of nowhere, deep in the forest, far from towns and roads. No one lived there. No one ever went there. He had never been there himself. But the signal was calling. Rayan packed a flashlight, water, and his tools. He didn't tell anyone. Who would believe him? He didn't even fully believe it himself. But something inside pushed him forward. A quiet voice in his mind that said, "Go." He left before sunrise. The air was cold. Fog moved through the trees. As he walked deeper into the forest, the radio signal grew stronger. The music turned into a pulse, slow and steady. Boom, 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 like a heartbeat. After hours of walking, Rayan reached the place. A small hill covered in vines and moss. At first it looked normal, just dirt and rocks. But when he stepped closer, his radio turned off by itself. Then the ground opened. A round door slowly appeared, rising from the earth. Silent, smooth, no hinges, no handles. Just a circle of black metal, the same metal as the box. Rayan stared at it. His heart pounded. Was this what the signal wanted him to find? The door opened. Inside was a staircase going down, deep into the earth. No lights, just darkness. He took a breath and stepped in. The stairs were cold. The air smelled old, like dust and stone. He went, down slowly, step by step. After a while, he saw a soft light at the bottom, blue and calm. The room was huge, round like a cave, but perfectly shaped, too perfect to be natural. In the center stood a tall crystal floating above the floor. It spun slowly, glowing. Around it were symbols, alien writing, moving through the air like smoke. Rayan didn't understand the words, but he understood the feeling. This place was alive. It was waiting for him. He walked closer. The crystal stopped spinning. The room became quiet. Then a voice filled the space, not through his ears, but inside his head. "You returned." Rayan stepped back. "Who are you?" he asked, but he didn't speak. His mouth didn't move. The thoughts were just shared. "We are memory," the voice said. "We are warning. You are the key." Rayan felt dizzy. "I'm just a man. I fix radios. You were more. Long ago." Flashes filled his mind. Not memories. Visions. He saw stars, strange machines, and battles in space. He saw planets burning. He saw a figure standing in the middle of it all, and the figure looked like him. "No," Rayan said. "That can't be me." "It was," the voice said, "and it will be again." The crystal grew brighter. It showed him Earth long before humans walked it, and something else, something buried deep inside it, not dead, just sleeping. Rayan fell to his knees. Why are you showing me this? Because the watchers will lie. The sky is a mask. The danger is not above, it is below. Then the light faded. The crystal dimmed. The room became still. Rayan stood up slowly. He didn't have all the answers, but he had one truth now. I was not here to protect Earth. It was here to watch what lies beneath it, and whatever it was starting to wake up. He climbed the stairs and walked back into the forest. Above him, the eye in the sky didn't move. But he knew now. It didn't need to, it was waiting, so was he. Rayan didn't tell anyone about what he saw under the hill, not because he didn't want to, but because he couldn't. How do you explain a voice that speaks into your mind? A crystal that shows you the past. A message that says the world isn't what it seems? He tried to forget, tried to return to normal life, back to fixing radios and old clocks. But the images wouldn't leave his mind. Flashes of stars, burning skies, and that figure that looked like him. Every night, he woke up sweating. Sometimes he saw himself in his dreams, wearing armor, holding strange weapons, shouting in a language he didn't know. Each day, the feeling grew stronger, like something inside him was opening, waking up. Then one night, it happened again. His old TV turned on by itself. No sound, just a video. It showed the Earth, but not like he knew it. There were no cities, no humans, just deep forests, giant rivers and strange creatures walking across the land. The video kept playing. Rayan watched in silence. Then he saw them, ships falling from the sky. Alien ships, hundreds of them. They landed and released beings of light and metal. These were not the same creatures from today's eye. These were older, fiercer. Then the war began. Rayan couldn't move. He watched as the aliens fought something, terrifying. Dark shapes with no clear form. Creatures made of shadow and smoke rising from the ground, screaming without sound. They didn't want to conquer Earth. They wanted to eat it. The war was long and brutal. The aliens burned forests, destroyed mountains. Anything to stop the shadows. Finally, they won. But the cost was high. Many of the light aliens died. And the shadow creatures weren't destroyed. They were locked beneath the Earth, sealed deep underground. Rayan felt cold. His heart beat fast. Then came the most shocking part of the video. One of the light aliens, wounded, weak, stepped forward. It looked straight at the screen. It had Rayan's face. The video ended. Rayan sat in silence, shaking. The meaning was clear now. The voice in the crystal didn't lie. He had been here before, not in this body, not in this time. But he was part of something older, a memory that lived inside him. That's why he could hear the signal. That's why he could understand the voice. He wasn't just chosen. He was a piece of the past. But what did it mean now? Why were the aliens back? Why were they watching? He started, digging through his old books, papers, anything strange he had ever collected. Somewhere he remembered reading about ancient myths, stories from before humans wrote history, about sky gods, fire wars, and sleeping demons beneath the land. 1. Book stood out. It was old, falling apart. But inside was a page with a symbol. It was the same symbol that floated around the crystal underground. Under the symbol were 5 words. They come when it stirs. Rayan stared at the words. He remembered what the voice said. The danger is not above, it is below. The eye was here to watch, to wait, to see if the thing they locked away so long ago would rise again. And now, it was starting to move. Suddenly, Rayan's radio turned on again. But this time, the voice was different. It was not calm. It was warning. Movement detected. Below Sector Earth 3. Watcher is active. Prepare. Then silence. Rayan looked outside. Nothing seemed strange. But then he noticed something. His tools were shaking on the table, just a little. He held his breath and listened. and heard it. A low sound, deep in the ground, like a giant heartbeat. Boom. Boom, boom. Rayan backed away from the table. His hands were sweating. The sound was not loud, but it felt heavy, ancient. He opened the door and stepped outside. The eye still hung in the sky, cold and quiet, but now he could see small lights blinking on its surface. It was waking up too. Rayan didn't know what would happen next. But one thing was clear now. The aliens didn't return to visit humans. They returned to make sure we didn't dig too deep, to make sure something didn't rise again. And somehow he was part of it. Not by choice, by memory, by blood, by something older than history itself. The silence was ending. The truth was coming. Rayan couldn't sleep anymore. Every time he closed his eyes, the dreams came. But they didn't feel like dreams. They felt like memories, memories that didn't belong to this life. In his mind, he saw a world filled with stars. He stood on ships that flew without wings. He spoke to beings made of light and metal. He gave orders in a strange language, and others obeyed. He saw fire. He saw death. He saw the shadow creatures rising from the ground, screaming without a sound. Every morning he woke up breathless. Confused and afraid, who was he? What was he? Was he even human? The old voice in his head kept repeating, "You were more, long ago." Rayan tried to live a normal day. He walked to the store. People talked about the eye in the sky. Everyone had theories. Some said it was here, to protect humans. Others believed it was watching something worse. No one knew the truth. Rayan did. But he couldn't speak it. They'd think he was mad. Later that evening, as the sun went down, Rayan felt something pull him. Not with hands, not with sound, but something inside told him to go back to the place underground. He followed the signal again, deep into the forest. The hidden door was still there. It opened as he approached, like it had been waiting. Down the cold stairs into the glowing room, the floating crystal waited for him. This time, when Rayan stepped forward, it showed him a face. His face, but older, harder, wearing armor. And then, the voice returned, calm, deep, in his mind. "You begin to remember." "I don't want this," Rayan thought. "It doesn't matter what you want," the voice said. "It matters what you are." Rayan saw images again. Long ago, when the shadow creatures first rose, the beings of light came to Earth to fight them. But they couldn't win with weapons alone. They needed something more. A vessel. A mind strong enough to carry forbidden knowledge. Rayan, or the E. One he used to be. He was one of them. But not like the others. He was made to hold the memory, the warning, and when the time came again, when the shadows began to wake, he would return, not in the same body, but in the same mind. That mind was now inside Rayan. He dropped to his knees. "I'm just a man," he said out loud, his voice shaking. "I fix broken things. That's all." "Yes," the voice replied. "And now you must fix the world." Suddenly, the crystal flashed with red light. A new message appeared in the air. "Another mind has awakened." Rayan stood quickly. "Another, like me?" The room changed. The walls showed another vision. A man far away, standing in a different place, but with the same strange glow in his eyes. Then a woman, deep in the mountains, holding a device like the black box. More people, in different parts of the world. They were waking up too. Rayan wasn't the only one, but not all of them would choose the same path. Some would remember the power and want it back. Rayan's thoughts were spinning. Why me? Why now? "Because the Watchers cannot act," the voice said. "They observe. They fear, but they do not fight." Rayan saw it clearly now. The eye above Earth wasn't a weapon, it was a prison guard. The creatures below Earth were locked away, not killed, and the only thing keeping them trapped was the balance between memory and time. That balance was breaking. Rayan looked around the room. The crystal's light was fading. The voice grew quiet. "Soon the others will find you," it said. Not all are your allies. Then it went dark. Ryan climbed back out of the hidden chamber and stepped into the cold night. The wind was stronger now. The ground felt strange, like it was breathing. He returned to his repair shop and locked the door. He sat in silence, thinking. Pieces were falling into place, slowly, but the picture wasn't clear yet. That night he had a new dream. He stood on a field of ash. The sky was red. Giant shadows walked across the land. People screamed. He turned and saw himself holding a device glowing with energy. A voice whispered, "If you speak the truth, you'll destroy everything." Rayan woke up gasping for air. He looked outside. The eye was blinking now, a red light, a warning. The truth was no longer hidden, and if he wasn't careful, the world would fall before it ever understood why. Rayan couldn't escape the truth anymore. He tried to live a quiet life, but it was impossible. The voice, the memories, the signal. It was all too loud now. Every step he took felt like a step toward something bigger. Something he didn't ask for. Something he couldn't run from. The black box on his table started glowing again. It had been silent for days. Now it was alive with light, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. He stared at it. What now? A message appeared across its surface. "She is near." Rayan didn't know what it meant until the knock came. He opened the door. A woman stood there, tall, calm. Her eyes looked tired but sharp, like she had seen too much. She didn't smile. "You're Ryan?" she asked. He nodded. "You heard it too?" She held up her own black box. It glowed the same way his did. "My name is Elia," she said. "I woke up 2 weeks ago." They sat together in silence, for a while, listening to the low hum from the boxes. Then they began to talk. Elia had seen the same visions. The war, the creatures, the old version of herself standing in armor. She had been drawn to an ancient ruin in the mountains. She found another crystal, like Rayan's, and heard the same voice. "It called me a protector," she said. "Said I was one of the 5. Rayan leaned forward. 5? She nodded. 5 minds, 5 memories, scattered across Earth. When the creatures start to wake, we wake too. Rayan felt his skin grow cold. "I've seen others in my visions." "So have I," Elia said. "But I don't think all of them want to help." They both looked at the black boxes. The glow began to flicker. A new message appeared. "One has turned." Rayan stood. "Turned?" Elia's voice became serious. "One of us has remembered and chosen the shadows." Outside, thunder rolled through the sky. But no storm followed, just strange wind, the kind that felt like it carried whispers. Rayan and Elia didn't speak much after that. They just prepared. They packed food, water, tools, and the boxes. Then, they left the town. Together, they followed a signal on the map. Another set of coordinates. It led them far into a desert, dry, quiet, and forgotten. After 2 days of walking, they found a stone door buried in sand. Elia placed her hand on it. It opened. Below was another chamber. But this one felt wrong. The air was thick, heavy. As they stepped in, their boxes dimmed. "No light," Rayan whispered. In the middle of the chamber stood another crystal, but it was broken, cracked down the center. The symbols around it were twisted, burning with red light. Suddenly a voice echoed, not calm like before, but sharp and cruel. "You are late." A figure stepped out of the shadows. It was a man, maybe 40, pale eyes. His body moved like it didn't fully belong to him, and when he spoke, it felt like more than one voice. "I remembered everything," the man said, "and I chose truth." Rayan stepped forward. "Truth?" "The creatures below," the man said, smiling. "They are not evil. They are the real ones, the first ones. The light beings were the invaders. They came to steal Earth. They locked away the true rulers." Elia's voice shook with anger. "They're monsters. I've seen what they do." "You've seen what they were shown," the man replied. "But I felt their power. I accepted it. And now I am free. Dark lines moved under the man's skin. Like veins filled with smoke, he held out his hand. "Join me, help wake them," Rayan shook his head. "You're being used." "No," the man said. "I'm being reborn." Then the ground began to shake. The broken crystal burst with energy. The walls of the chamber cracked. Red light poured from below. Aaliyah grabbed Rayan's arm. "We have to leave." "Now!" They ran. Behind them, the man laughed, a sound that didn't belong to any human. The stone door sealed shut as they escaped. The ground stopped shaking. The desert became quiet again, but the damage was done. As they looked up, at the sky, the eye above Earth blinked red. Twice. Rayan's black box lit up. Containment breached. Sector 1. Prepare for surface emergence. Elia turned to Rayan, her voice cold and steady. "This is it." Rayan nodded. The Watchers weren't just watching anymore, and the shadows weren't sleeping. They were rising. The world still didn't. No, people lived their normal lives. They worked, laughed, watched the news. Some looked up at the eye in the sky and wondered if it was friendly or dangerous. But they didn't feel what Rayan felt. Rayan stood on a hill with Elia beside him. They looked at the sky. The eye was blinking red now, slowly, like a warning light. But no one could hear what it was saying, except them. Beneath their feet, something was moving. The black boxes glowed in their hands. The signal was louder than ever. The Earth's heartbeat had changed. It was faster, uneven, like something deep underground was struggling to break free. Rayan's voice was low. "It's almost here," Elia nodded. "We don't have much time." They returned to the small outpost they had built, a hidden shelter with old tech, food, and maps. They were waiting for a message, from the crystal or from the Watchers. It came that night. The black boxes displayed a new word, awakening, then a map appeared. 5 red dots. One was in the ocean, one in the desert, where they had escaped the corrupted man, one in the mountains, one near a city, and one directly under them. Rayan felt sick. "It's not just one creature. There are 5. 5 locks." Leah said, "5 doors. And one has already opened." They knew what they had to do. Stop the others from opening. Rayan turned to the screen again. The dot under them was flashing faster. "We're too late here," he said. "But we might reach the next one." They packed quickly. Before leaving, Rayan sent a signal to the other awakened minds. He didn't know who would respond. Maybe no one, maybe enemies. But they needed help now. They traveled north, toward the mountains. The journey was long and cold. The deeper they went, the more strange things they saw. Trees bending the wrong way. Animals running in circles. Strange sounds coming from underground. The black boxes stayed hot in their hands like they were alive. One night they found a cave hidden under ice. Inside, glowing marks lined the walls. Symbols Rayan had seen before, on the crystal in his dreams. Elia whispered, "This is one of the locks." Rayan nodded. "Still closed, for now." As they stepped inside, the air grew heavy. The silence was deep. Then, in the center of the cave, they found another crystal, still whole, still blue. But they weren't alone. A figure stood in front of it. A woman. She turned slowly. Her eyes glowed faintly. She looked at them, not with fear, but sadness. "You came late," she said. Rayan stepped forward. "Who are you?" "I was called Mira," she replied. "I remembered a few days ago." "Then you know what's happening," Elia said. Mira nodded. "I know. I feel it. The ground. Cries." "Help us stop it," Rayan said. "We need to keep this lock sealed." Mira looked at the crystal. "I've been trying, but I'm not strong enough alone." "Then you're not alone anymore," Elia said. The 3 of them stood around the crystal. The black boxes synced. Lights moved across the air, forming a pattern. It looked like a shield. Then a voice returned, clearer than ever. "1 lock restored, 3 remain." Rayan sighed in relief. 1 more saved. But it wasn't over yet. Suddenly the cave shook. From the shadows, something moved. Rayan turned fast. A figure appeared, tall, thin, eyes dark like a cave with no end. It wasn't the corrupted man from before. This was something worse. It didn't speak with words. It screamed without sound. Ryan's ears rang. Mira dropped to her knees. Elia grabbed Ryan's arm. "Run," she said, "get her out." But Ryan didn't move. He remembered the dreams. He remembered the war. He remembered who he was. He stepped forward. The creature lunged. Ryan raised his black box. A pulse of light burst out, white and blue, pure and sharp. The creature screamed, again, and vanished into smoke. Silence returned. Elia helped Mira up. Ryan stood still, his heart pounding. He looked at his hands. The box was changing, growing, becoming something else, a weapon, a key. He didn't understand how, but it was happening, a key. Voice returned softer this time. "You were built for this." Ryan turned to the others. "We have to move fast. The next lock is near a city. If it breaks there, millions could die," Elia finished. They left the cave as dawn broke over the mountains. The eye above blinked red again, faster now. The Fan watchers were worried. The earth was changing, and Ryan finally knew. This wasn't about saving himself. This was about saving everyone. Ryan, Elia, and Mira moved quickly. The final lock was under a city, a big one, full of people who had no idea what was coming. The eye in the sky blinked faster now. Every few seconds, red, then white, then red again. It wasn't hiding anymore. It was warning. The watchers had seen enough. They were ready to act, but they couldn't. Only the awakened ones could reach the last lock in time. Ryan's black box had changed completely now. It was no longer just a signal tool. It looked like a piece of living tech, half metal, half light. It pulsed with power. So did Elia's, Mira's too. All three had merged with something old, something powerful, and dangerous. The city ahead was quiet when they arrived. Too quiet. People were confused. The news told them not to panic, just a strange weather event, they said. But deep below the street, something was moving. Ryan could feel it. Boom, boom, boom. The ground thumped like a slow, heavy heartbeat. Then a crack appeared in the sky. Not thunder, not lightning. A tear. The air split open for just a second. The watchers in the eye moved. Lights blinked all across its surface. Something massive was powering up. Ryan looked up. "If the final lock breaks, they'll destroy the city." Elia's voice was flat. "They have no choice. They came to protect us from this," Mira added. "Not to save us, to stop." Ryan closed his eyes, then pointed. "There," he said. "Below the tallest tower, that's where the lock is." They moved fast, deep into the tunnels beneath the city. Pipes, old wires, forgotten machines surrounded them. But the black boxes lit the path. Finally, they reached it, a massive chamber under the city. In the center stood the last crystal. It was cracked, barely holding together. Dark energy leaked from it like smoke and water. Red symbols floated around it. Not like the others. These were wild, angry, and in front of it stood the corrupted man, the one from the desert. He turned and smiled. "You're too late." Ryan stepped forward. "We stopped 2 locks. We'll stop this one too." The man shook his head. "You don't understand. I didn't come to break it. I came to open it. The right way." He raised his arms. Shadows swirled around him. The walls of the chamber shook. Pipes burst. The ground cracked. From the darkness behind him, something began to rise. Not fully seen. Not with a shape. Just a presence. Massive. Ancient. And full of hunger. Ryan felt it in his bones. This wasn't a creature. It was a mind, a sleeping god, and was waking up. The man shouted, "Let them come! Let them take back what was stolen!" Mira screamed. "He's calling the others!" Elia raised her device. "We stop this now." Ryan felt the black box in his hand burn like fire. It wasn't pain, it was power, old power, the kind only remembered through war and death. He stepped forward. The corrupted man lunged, too fast, but Ryan moved faster. Their boxes clashed in the air. A shock wave burst from the center of the room. The red crystal cracked again, but didn't break. Rayan saw images in his mind. Millions of years. The war, the trap, the lie, the truth. He saw the Watchers. Again, not as machines, but as survivors. Long ago, they locked the shadow gods away not to steal Earth, but to save it. They sacrificed their own worlds to trap the darkness here. And now, it was about to escape. Rayan understood now. He was one of them. His memory, his body, his soul, reborn. In human skin, this was his last mission. He didn't speak, he didn't need to. He looked at Elia, she nodded. They joined hands. Mira added hers. The black boxes fused together, light pouring out in all directions. The crystal screamed. The shadows twisted, pulling the corrupted man down. He shouted in rage. Then, silence. A single flash. White, clean, then black. Nothing moved. Rayan opened his eyes. He was standing outside. The city was quiet. Normal. No cracks in the sky. No heartbeat from below. The eye above blinked once. Blue. Then faded into the clouds. Mira sat beside him. Elia stood quietly, staring at the sky. "It's over," Rayan said. "No," Elia said. "It's just sealed again." "But this time," Mira added, "we know. And next time, we'll be ready." Rayan looked down at the black box in his hand. It was cold now, dark, like it had finished its job. He smiled for the first time in days. The Watchers didn't save Earth. Humans did. Because in the end, the strongest memory is the will to protect, even from what we were never meant to face. And that is why aliens don't kill humans, not out of mercy, but because they know. Humans are the last line of defense.